Practicing practice. I don't like who I am, and I bet there are many things about yourself that you don't like either. It's part of being human. We always want what others have. We look at our own traits and decide they are somehow worthless compared to others' abilities. We are who we are. I am lazy. I am not smart enough. I am fat. I am not funny. I'm not strong enough or talented enough. When we decide that we are a certain way, we fix our identity to the present and the past. The past is filled with regret, and the future is filled with fear and uncertainty. Yet those of us who practice use our experience to shape who and what we can be. In life, if you've learned how to practice, then you've learned how to learn anything. I'll say it again because it's so important. If you've learned how to practice, then you've learned how to learn anything. Practice can be broken down into 4 main traits: frequency, intensity, duration, and reflection. Let's look at how each one plays a role in practice. The first key to practice is frequency. Frequency is the number of occurrences or repeating that's done in order to achieve a goal. It's only through frequency that we can achieve excellence in anything that we do. It's the repetition that cements the skills into our second nature. It's the practice and intentional repetition that separates a good habit from an idea that becomes part of our character. In other words, the more frequency or repetition that we use, the more the idea will become part of who we are as a person. There are 3 things that happen when we practice with repetition. First, we are reminded. It's the most basic concept of all. We are simply reminded by the action of going over again and again. The second benefit from frequency is that we change over time. As we live our lives, we are constantly reminded through repetition. We slowly begin to see how to apply it to the different aspects of our lives. The third is where we actually start to use them in the details of our lives. It slowly begins to shape who we are by the daily decisions that we make. We are challenged by thinking about them and talking about them in our lives. The second key to practice is intensity. Intensity is the gap between good athletes and exceptional athletes. It is not between those who know a lot and know a little, but it's between those who give themselves just a little to practice and those who give all of themselves to practice. It's the intensity of the practice that makes all the difference. Excellence comes wrapped in hard work. The will to win is common, but the will to train is what separates others from success. The third key to practice is duration. Think of a professional athlete and how much they train. They don't stop training as soon as the season is over. They don't train only on the days they think they need it. They certainly don't work out only on the day that they have a game. The athletes we so often admire know that training is a lifelong goal. It's not something that can be done casually. They work hard every day of their lives to perform at the level that others won't. This is the reason so many of us enjoy watching sports, TV, or theater. It's part of the joy that we can appreciate the fruits of somebody's labor without having to do that work ourselves. We watch the play and cheer, knowing that we don't have to write, direct, act, light, or rehearse. Finally, the last key to practice is reflection. We often assume that learning the skill or talent is enough. We assume that practicing itself is enough, that once we know something good or right or wise, that we'll act on that knowledge. Only rarely is this true. Our intention and our actions never line up as perfectly as we'd like. This is where reflection comes into play. We need to understand not just how to do something, but how and why we apply it to our lives. Knowledge and wisdom are certainly 2 different things. Knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit, and wisdom knows that you should never put it in a fruit salad. Reflection is vital to ensure we fully grasp the meaning of our new talent or skill and how to apply it to our individual lives. Our times of practice will become isolated islands unless we reflect. Reflection is the bridge between what we practice and the way that we live our lives. So in conclusion, frequency is important because we learn through repetition. Our bodies and minds need to adapt to each practice. Intensity is important because we grow only when we push ourselves beyond the boundaries of our past experiences. Duration is important because we need to train as long as necessary for our bodies and minds and spirits to adapt to our work. Finally, reflection is important because we have to consider our performance against the standards that we have set, adjust ourselves, and integrate what we've learned into our lives. One of the many benefits of pursuing excellence in your own life, again, is that it will shape the way you see the world around you. Whether it's a great sports game, a meal you eat, a story you've read, or the ability of a coworker to complete a complicated task with ease, you're more likely to see the sweat and care that went into it. Working hard yourself makes you more appreciative and show respect for the hard work of others. If you've learned how to practice, then you've learned how to learn anything.